people tend to romanticize the dictators of yesteryears because the current dictators are making the former dictators look like angels.
Exactly.
I mean, Museveni is making Idi Amin look like an angel. Idi Amin ruled over Uganda for only 8 years. For all the wrongs that he did, Idi Amin was uneducated.
Yep. Idi
Amin did that for 8 years. Museveni has killed Ugandans for 40 years. There are, in my view, and I could be wrong, there are productive dictators and there are failed dictators. Museveni is a failed dictator.
Please give him a round of applause. Don't do it for me, do it for yourself, for your country.
Supporters, don't support me, support what is right. So a short while ago, when Traore had just come, I made a statement and said, yeah, I love Traore. I support him. He's very popular. How I wish he gave the people of Burkina Faso the chance to elect him so they can feel like he's their servant and not their boss. You know, but over time, of course, when he abolished the Electoral Commission, I questioned. Recently, when he dismissed democracy, I was so heartbroken.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mordecai Marissa here once again. Again, we're going to be looking at a few comments from Chagulanyi Ssentamu Robert in these engagements he's having with different organizations, institutions, individuals or groups of people in the USA ever since he fled Uganda following the manhunt on the orders of Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who happens to be the commander of our defense forces and a Nepo baby child of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Look, I cannot keep up. Let me admit that. I cannot keep up. I blink and he's speaking to an audience of students at Howard University. Then I blink, he's meeting Ugandan somewhere. I blink and he's receiving an award. I mean, Bobi Wine, big up to you. I don't know. I appreciate the kind of hard work you're putting into exposing the filth and the decadency of the Museveni criminal regime. Now here, what makes really this engagement amazing is when he was at Columbia University in New York, this conversation was moderated by none other than Anselm Besigye, the son to opposition bigwig Dr. Kizza Besigye, who was abducted in Kenya more than a year ago and then flown to Uganda and has been kept in prison for more than a year. Extremely, extremely sad. So they engaged in a number of things. He even made comments about a very popular guy in Africa, Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso. I'm going to be showing you comments of Bobi Wine, and I really buy into what he says. But he made a very, very interesting point here when he was talking about sort of comparing the regime of Museveni and that of Idi Amin Dada. And he defined the dictatorship of Idi Amin as productive dictatorship, and then Museveni's dictatorship as a failed dictatorship. Look, there's a tendency of looking at past regimes or our past with rose-colored glasses. And why do we usually get in those kind of situations? It's because current situations sort of bring that feeling of nostalgia, of wanting to, it's maybe a point of escapism, but listen, I mean, he explained it better. Listen here.
I was not born in the days of Idi Amin, but I know he was a brutal dictator, also I'm told. However, I also know that many of the roads and many hospitals and schools were built by Idi Amin. Mm-hmm. I also know that under Idi Amin, there was a crackdown on corruption. You cannot find Idi Amin's son or daughter or grandchild as a tycoon. I know that Uganda House here in New York was bought for Uganda by Idi Amin and all that. That is not in any way to wrap away the brutality that enabled Ugandans. But I believe that people tend to romanticize the dictators of yesteryears because the current dictators are making the former dictators look like angels.
Exactly.
I mean, Museveni is making Idi Amin look like an angel. Idi Amin ruled over Uganda for only 8 years. For all the wrongs that he did, Idi Amin was uneducated.
Yep.
Idi Amin did that for 8 years. Museveni has killed Ugandans for 40 years.
Now, that's what, makes people look at the regime of Idi Amin with rose-colored glasses. It's not because Idi Amin was any better. Look, if there's a person that has argued with his own audience about the legacy of Idi Amin, is Mordecai Maurice. I've told you, I'm not a fan of Idi Amin Dada. I don't want anything to do with him. Zero. He was a brutal, bad guy. I know I have a few people going to go down in the comment section and be like, Mordecai, it is the West. The West, those Europeans didn't like Idi Amin. No, he was a bad guy. No excuse. He was a bad guy, and I do not want a dictator like him. I'm not a fan of dictators. I think I should be categorically clear. I'm not a fan of a man who is so obsessed with feeding his ego, and that was what Idi Amin was. That's Idi Amin that was. So, but when you look at all the atrocities committed under the regime of Idi Amin Dada, you have to look at the time. How long did it take? It was only 8.5 years. Museveni has committed the atrocities of Idi Amin Dada and Obote combined for 40 years. And just like Bobi Wine said, Idi Amin Dada wasn't as exposed, he wasn't as educated, he wasn't as trained. Probably we may argue that he was actually better trained militarily, better than Museveni. But with all he did, we may say, maybe he lacked education. Maybe he didn't have the right people around him. Museveni was endorsed and supported and sponsored by elites, the likes of Matthew Ruchiki, Sam Kahamba Kutesa, Amama Mbaba's elites of then. Smart people who had traveled and had seen how other economies and other countries were being managed. The likes of Dr. Kizza Besigye, had to abandon his career, his medical career, and support Museveni. They knew. So there was no excuse. He wasn't leading with, when he assumed to power, Museveni wasn't in office with people who didn't know things any better. He knew. He had them. People who even sat down and be like, okay, I think we've seen, like when you read the preamble of our constitution, they tell us where we come from. Recalling our past history, which was characterized by ABC. They talk about the bloodshed. So they wrote the constitution. So he knew there's no excuse whatsoever. And that makes him extremely bad because 40 years committing crimes and atrocities Idi Amin committed.
There are, in my view, and I could be wrong, there are productive dictators and there are failed dictators. Museveni is a failed dictator.
Please give him a round of applause. They are productive dictators and they are failed dictators. Museveni is a failed dictator. Absolutely.
Because besides the brutality, the corruption is at levels it has never been before.
Yep.
It has only been destruction. So, and this is to warn us, if I or anybody from your generation was to become president and you behave like Museveni or worse, you make him look like an angel. So that should teach us. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, no, that makes
amazing. I like the fact that he makes that distinction. Look, there's this argument, and I've always really argued against it. They say, how does it go? The less of two evils? Yeah, choose the less of two evils. I don't want to choose between the two, between Museveni and Idi Amin Dada, because you know what that gives birth to? It gives birth to the greater or the greatest evil. So I don't want to choose between Museveni and Idi Amin Dada. They were both. But if we were to bring ourselves to that level, you would argue that Idi Amin Dada was a little better. You know, Museveni has plundered our country and sold our economy to the foreigners. Our economy is being sustained by borrowing from other countries and international bodies. And besides that, it is being owned by foreigners. Go on. Look at the richest men in Uganda. They're all foreigners. And what did Idi Amin do in his primitive mind? He said, okay, I'm going to suspend Indians from Uganda or expel them. Now, do I buy that idea? Absolutely not. But you have to understand, where was he coming from? What had caused him to get to this point? Is that the modus operandi? Absolutely not. But he was a primitive man. But his actions show you how much he was concerned about the poverty and about how the economy of Uganda had been captured by people he considered foreigners who had dual citizenship. Some of them were Indians and at the same time British. I don't like the fact that that's what he did, but others will argue and say, hey, it actually sort of gave back Ugandan, the economy back to the hands of Ugandans. I wonder, really, did it do that? Because as we speak right now, it's only in the hands of Ugandans. Okay. Like I told you, I blink and Bobi Wine is having an engagement somewhere. I enjoyed when I watched this clip when he was like, hey, don't look at me as your savior. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself, for your country.
Supporters, don't support me. Support what is right.
Brilliant.
Don't look at me. Put a mirror and look at yourself.
Yep.
If you can't look at yourself, look at your children.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the oppressed people around you. This is not about me. And I don't want people to support me, but to support the truth.
Brilliant.
Because by supporting the truth, you are supporting yourself. This is not about me as an individual. It's about all of us. We must free ourselves as all of us. So to all of you there, don't give up.
Exactly. I mean, there's no better way of saying those words. You know, many sympathizers and stooges, acolytes, simps of the Museveni criminal regime tend to make the struggles of the Ugandan people about Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is an extremely wealthy man. Like I've always told you, you know, at 25, he was pretty much an accomplished man. With how many acres of land in Magere, a celebrated star in Uganda, running business ventures. He's a rich man. So it's not about Bobi Wine. It is about having the ability of being a Mordecai Murisa. You have a podcast like this one, and you wake up, voice out your opinions without worry that your equipment is going to be confiscated. That, oh, you're going to be abducted by jackbooted thugs from SFC. That they're going to torture you, disappear you, and kill you. It's not about Bobi Wine. I don't understand why these people tend to make our liberation struggle seem like rocket science. No, you don't have to have a mind of Albert Einstein or Isaac Newton to know that, hey, we're saying corrupt folks should be arrested. That's a bare minimum. We're not calling for a firing squad to these people who have plundered our country. No, we're saying, hey, can we see the legal process taking its course in regards to punishing these criminals? Bare minimum. It's not about Bobi Wine. Why do you make it about Bobi Wine? It's about your nation. It's about a future of a country you call home. What kind of a country do you want your children and your grandchildren to live in? It's not about Bobi Wine. That's why I've always said, don't support Bobi Wine. Like I've had engagements with people who support Mugisha Muntu or Kizza Besigye or any. Please do. That's your right. And I'll defend your right to support whomever you want. But to make the liberation struggle about Bobi Wine, it is utter imbecility.
change is inside. Freedom is inside. We are going to be free. We are going to dismantle this regime. We are going to get our freedom. We are going to enjoy our country. Museveni is going to go. I say it many times that all factors show it. The law is on our side. Because if the law was respected, Museveni would not be in charge of our country. The law is on our side. That is why none of us has ever been convicted, even when we are arrested numerous times. The political prisoners are being pushed to concede and accept the crimes they did not commit because they can't find any justification of convicting them. So the law is on our side.
Yep.
Time is on our side. Paul, time is on our side. We are the generation that is going to see change. And even God is on our side because God has never been on the side of injustice. So everything is on our side. Just don't give up. Don't lose hope. Believe me, so many terrible things are going to happen. Many will be arrested, tortured, maimed, killed. But in the end, we are going to be free. We are going to see freedom in our lifetime. All of you that are in the diaspora, you're going to get opportunity to come back home and enjoy your country.
Am I going to have an opportunity to come back to Uganda? Maybe. But even if I didn't have that opportunity, if you're watching me and you're my childhood friend, if you never see me again, just know I'll die a happy man, dying on the right side of history, saying, hey, it doesn't matter whether I live in Uganda or not. I wanted Uganda to be free and continue pushing until freedom, respect of human rights, democracy, name it, rule of law are restored in Uganda, restored or are established. Because I don't think we've ever had a rule of law respected in Uganda. It was like the moment we received our independence, it was a mess. 1962, and then you had 66 already, a crisis. And then 71, another crisis, and then 79. I mean, it's unbelievable. But hey, like I said, even if I never come back to Uganda, if I died today, I'll die a happy man. You know why? Because I have this microphone and I can use it to call out the Museveni criminal regime. I couldn't do this in Uganda. Oh boy. If they caught me, they look at me as, in their sight, I am Bin Laden and Joseph Kony combined, or Alice Lakwena.
You know, all those that are in exile, they will return home in pride and confidence as Ugandans. When Museveni is gone, we are going to repeal all those stupid laws that are being passed. Never again will Ugandans need to fear the police or the military. The military will be guarding our borders and will be dignified. The police will not be playing politics, but it will be serving its noble duty of protecting citizens and their property. We are going to enjoy our country. Just don't give up. From my side, we are doing what we are doing. I salute all of you leaders, those that have not sold out, those that have stood for the truth. Don't give up. You are going to be proud of yourself one day. One day we shall hold hands and say, Hallelujah.
I can't wait for that day to hold hands and say, hallelujah. We have defeated evil for once and for all. I mean, look, I think I've mentioned here, one of my hobbies is watching documentaries about dictatorships, cults of personalities, especially political cults. And I cannot believe, is it indoctrination, psychosis? I don't understand that folks within Uganda will stay silent, especially those who are serving the Museveni criminal regime, will stay silent as the country is being destroyed by one man, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. What is it? I'd rather flee or die. One of the two. There's no way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, lastly, was Bobi Wine commenting on the president of Burkina Faso. Let's go on and listen to what he said, then that will be it. It's right here. I was skeptical when he became president. I'll tell you. That's why you never saw me make videos in excitement. I said, okay, let me watch him. Because I know folks who come like Ibrahim Traore tend to disappoint.
I love Traore, or rather I loved Traore. I'm one fan of the great Thomas Sankara. I mean, we wear this red beret as inspired by Thomas Sankara, as inspired by Che Guevara and all those other revolutionaries. I loved Museveni. I've read his books, and I'm sure the Museveni of then, when he was my age, that's the reason he was able to persuade your father to join him to go and risk their lives to liberate Uganda, or do what they call liberation. However, I disagree with any leader that claims to be representing people without getting the mandate of the people. America was created out of a war that had the saying no taxation without representation. You cannot claim to be representing people when you don't get their mandate. I love what Traore says. I would love to love what he does. You know, like many people, I was fascinated when Ibrahim Traore took over. Yeah, he claimed it was corruption, and the good words that we all love to hear. We all disagree with imperialism. We all disagree with modern day.
I don't understand why African leaders use imperialism as a talking point. It's so boring. We're not living in 1960s or 50s. These people, like, there's no admission of weakness, like imperialism, or claiming, the white man is coming to take. Come on, what are you doing? We're not in 1960s or 50s. These people, all these African leaders, every time they get a microphone, Africa will not be colonized again. We're not in that era. We are in a generation, in an era where you have to be helping your people transform their lives. Introduce those studies about Pan-Africanism in schools. Let them know. But every time, the moment you criticize them, they'll be like, now you're being sponsored by France. Shut up and do the job.
Colonialism. But while we disagree with colonialism, we even disagree more with being colonized by people of our color. You know, in this day and time, citizens should have a right, and leaders should govern in interest of their citizens and with mandate, and should be accountable to the people. So a short while ago, when Traore had just come, I made a statement and said, yeah, I love Traore. I support him. He's very popular. How I wish he gave the people of Burkina Faso the chance to elect him, so they can feel like he's their servant and not their boss. I don't believe in bosses.
Brilliant.
As leaders, I believe in servants. So if Traore gave the people of Burkina Faso a chance to vote him into power, then he would be their servant and not their boss. You know, but over time, of course, when he abolished the Electoral Commission, I questioned. Recently, when he dismissed democracy, I was so heartbroken.
Yeah, again, he goes on to make comments. That's bold. That's courage. You know, there's a lot of glazing over Traore. Look at this man. And then he's got his PR team where they enjoy those stunts where they have these men who are dressed like they are going to war and, you know, in combats and stuff. And it's all PR. It's boring. I don't like it. It's Hollywood production of show of strength. Burkina Faso. Do you see Burkina Faso and the show of see how strong we are? My name is... I don't care. And people like that because, again, it talks to our egotistical worldview. We envision ourselves as Traore's, walking and you have people following you with guns. I don't care. That's all nonsense. But the moment he started, you know, abolishing political parties, abolishing the electoral commission, and, you know, abolishing the election itself, I'm like, what's going on? Now, does that mean he might not be a good leader? He might be. But these actions, like we've seen in history, are indicative of what he might do in the future. The moment you take over the nation's institutions, you pretty much become the state, and the state is you. I don't know how to reverse that. I haven't read a book where a leader who made himself a state and the state himself reversed that. Never. Never. Don't these people really admire countries like the USA? Actually, they're celebrating 250 years in July of independence. But guess the foundation of this country, George Washington. After the war, now, that doesn't mean I'm trying to say USA is a perfect country. But let's give credit where credit is due. In one field, peaceful transfer of power in one area. After the war, George Washington is tipped to become president. He first didn't even believe that he was deserving to be president of the US, but he finally accepts and becomes president, serves one time and says, it's enough. He was a decorated, celebrated soldier. Many people pleaded for him to stay, remain president, only for him to say no. Tell me what that is. Generosity? Setting precedent for your country? Is it patriotism? Yes, all the above. But it's only in Africa where you have Museveni, who gives perverted, stupid lectures. You know, in 1990, in 1800, blah, 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 blah. When you ask him about poverty, you know, the intercaste region, you know, the democracy, he quotes all these people who really love their people. He doesn't care. I cannot hope, but I don't know how many this man has been quoted by Museveni, but does he really mean a thing? Absolutely not. So I'm a little disappointed too with what Ibrahim Traore is doing, but hey, is that a surprise, especially in Africa? Absolutely not. All right, that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I might be releasing this video and then Bobi Wine is having an engagement with another set of people. I won't be able to keep up. But there's a friend of mine, Jebi Muwonge, is giving updates. Almost everywhere Bobi Wine goes is giving you live updates. If you want to go on and subscribe to his feed, I was going to say Mordecai Murisa Live. Okay, please first subscribe to my feed, Mordecai Murisa Live, and go support our brother, Jebi Muwonge. See you. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.